Hi everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem and my husband's laughing at me this morning because apparently I'm dressed like a farmer. It's time to unbox our monthly Upcrate, which is our monthly art subscription box all the way from our friends in Germany, and I am excited about this today. Upcrate is a year old now and their boxes have developed wonderfully over the past 12 months, so I'm looking forward to getting stuck in today. This month we are also doing the Upcrate battle in with the unboxing video, so it's time for me to get my skates on and get my thinking cap on and see if I can come up with something for our Upcrate battle. So let's go to top down view and we can get going. Alright, so let's get going. I have an impending sense of doom with these boxes just now, just on account of the amount of unboxings I do, and we haven't had markers for a while, and I know that day is coming, so please don't be markers, but let's see what's inside. Okay, so usual situation with Upcrate, they have this sticker on the inside and basically it tells you to unbox your box and get excited about the contents. You can go and watch a video on how to use the supplies, which can be really helpful if you're new to them, and then you can do the Upcrate battle, which is their art prompt for the month, and create yourself a lovely artwork. So here we've got our, this is our envelope of Bumf. Ooh. That I refer to, and this has the contents and a little bit of an explanation of the supplies. There's also a few stickers of featured artists, postcard, and the Upcrate battle as well, so we'll look at that in just a moment. Whoa! Ah! Okay, what is this? This is Sinelli Matte Soft Body Acrylic in a squishy pouch, which is kind of cute, I kind of like that, and this is titanium white. So we can see the paint in the bottom. This is 2 fluid ounces, so 60ml. It's really bad that in my head I compare that to a measure of Jack Daniels. That's like 2 Jack Daniels in it. Oh god. This has a light fastness rating on it as well, which is really good, so that's interesting. And it is a soft body matte acrylic. We've had heavy body acrylic. I think that was the scroller box. Was that last month? And basically the difference is that the heavy body has more structure to it, so it's great for texture and it's akin more to oil paint. The analogy that I use is if you're making egg whites into meringues, you know, you whisk it up in the bowl and you get it to a soft peak consistency so that when you lift your whisk out, the sort of blobby bits stand up on their own, whereas this soft body stuff will act more like normal paint and sort of squish out a bit. So we'll go into that a bit further when we test these out. So we've got 2 of these, and this one is Chinese blue, and that is a really nice colour. Can you see that? That's a blue that appeals to me. I'm just starting to explore acrylic painting, and I actually enjoy it more than watercolour, I think. What is this? Talons. As in royal talons. Okay. Let me... Oh. Look at these tiny little bowls to put your paint in. Oh, they're so cute. Love these. What else have we got? Okay. What else have we got here? Oh. The good old Koh-i-Noor pencil. This is a B grade pencil. This is a grade of pencil I would use. It has a triangular barrel just for a wee change. I don't get on very well with these pencils. They just don't sit well in my hand. I'm quite prone to hand cramps. And you can get all sorts of grips and things for these, but they just don't help. I've tried all this. We have got... Oh, we've got paintbrushes. Right, let's see here. It's all plastic things. And these are... Art Space. I think that's supposed to be Art Space with a funky spelling. Anyway, we've got 3 synthetic brushes here. We've got a number 4 round, we've got a 0, and we've got a 3 over 0 or a 3 stroke 0. So if I just hold those up to you, that is a really, really nice selection of brushes, and it's so nice to have that in a subscription box. I don't know realistically how much I'm going to use the teeny tiny brush when I'm using acrylic, but that might be quite interesting to try. I kind of, when I'm working with acrylic, I like to think of it as more of a sort of the big, bold, expressive, you know, fa, rather than a sort of tiny detail kind of painting feel, but that's just me. So that'll be quite nice to try out as well. There, say they're synthetic bristles, and synthetic bristle brushes seem to be quite popular in our subscription boxes this last little while. I've never tried this brand though, so that'll be quite nice to try out as well. Oh, okay, what's this? It's some more of the same brand of paint. This is a 3D liner. 3D, so that makes me think, yeah, this is heavy body acrylic. This is soft body. So the difference between these two is, when I was talking earlier, my little analogy about whipping your meringue and the peaks, this is the peaky stuff. And I think it's got one of these little squeezy nibs on it. Yeah, look how fine that nib is. So they're calling it a 3D liner, so you could use that to outline anything that you're doing, and that would give it a really nice pop of colour. By the same token, I'm sure you could just squidge this out and squish it about with your paintbrush as well. But that's a really nice addition, and I love the fact that we've got two different textures of the same paint. That makes things like this interesting, so I'm really, really pleased with that. Now the last thing we've got in here is a little bit of wood with what looks like a magnet on it, and it's done in a postcard style. Wood cards, so this is the same company that sent us, well they didn't send us, but Upcrate had included their little badges before. The smaller brushes kind of make sense now just with the size of this. Normally we're used to getting sort of A5 size in these subscription boxes, and obviously postcard size is a little bit smaller. So these brushes have been picked out specifically for this, which gets a thumbs up from me. So there we go. Oh my goodness, hang on, we're not done, we're not done. We get a bit, we get a big bit too, look. Yeah, and it's got the little Upcrate stamp on it as well. That is cool, Okay, right, this makes me really happy. So we've actually got two things that we can create some artwork on, which is really nice. And that just looks like ply, it's quite rough. Okay, right, let's have a little look at all the other bits and pieces in here. Okay, so here is our featured artist, Nika Larkina. This is interesting. I love all these bold things. That's why I like acrylic, and the visual appeal of acrylic work is nice for me. It's very different to my own style. Maybe that's why I like it. I don't know. So on the back here, they call the featured artist the co-captain. There is a little sort of interview style bit here about her, and her Instagram is also down the bottom. If you like her work, you can go and check out some more of it. And we've got a little leaflet here. This is something that Upcrate are doing regularly now. Whatever product you have in the box, they tend to include a leaflet. So that gives you all the colours that it's available in, and in what format. So whether it's in squidgy pouches or bottles or that kind of thing. So that's kind of nice to know as well. And there seems to be quite a nice colour range there as well. Let's open our wee envelope up now and see if we can find out a little bit more about these supplies. Right. So we've got our Upcrate battle, which we shall look at in a moment. And here we have, so we've got our postcard that kind of goes along with our artwork. What they've done is here is in the postcard format, they've done what the sticker is. Now with the sticker, it is the Upcrate logo. So this one here, the little pirate guy, but done in the style of the artist using the supplies that we've got here. That's quite interesting, and it's very cool as well. I actually really like that. So let's look at the soft body acrylic first of all and see what we can learn. The new Abstract matte in 60ml bags was launched in 2019 as a further development of the Abstract original range in the 120ml bags, so brought out a diddly version. In contrast to the heavy body, this is a soft body with much more fluid, elastic, especially covering properties. In contrast to the Abstract original, it has an opaque look. This great effect is in it, and its simple application provides you all the possibilities to achieve great and different effects. So we've got this little 3D liner, which is the heavy body stuff. With the liner, precise 3D applications are possible, including relief and contour effects. Abstract is the result of 3 years of research by the Snelly expert lab team. It's a fine acrylic paint which meets all the stringent quality demands that are a guarantee of Snelly quality paints. Its pigment concentration, quite amazing for the segment of the market, I'll take your word for that, I don't really know much about that, gives it a creamy to thick consistency, which they call heavy body, along with incomparable covering power. It can be freely mixed with the soft body colours. Okay, so we can mix this and this, and we can mix this and this. Oh, that's so good. That is so good. Yes, I like this game. Set of mixing trays. This is our little talon set here. 3 round dishes with round and flat bottoms. It tells you about the diameters. Perfect for mixing your new acrylic paints to create new colours. When they are clean, you can store them like a matryoshka, which is the little dolls, you know. We've got our wood cards. So it's listed the actual large piece that I came across second, and the postcard. It's listed it as two separate things. We've prepared a special painting media for you. This FSC certified natural birchwood with a thickness of 3mm is a favourite medium of our co-captain Nika. The pencil is a triangular pencil, optimal grip, unless you're me, because I've got a squidgy hand. The wood of the 2B pencil consists of 100% certified FSC wood. It is not a 2B pencil, it's a B. Let's look at the nylon brushes then, this 3-piece set. The size of this brush set was designed to match the art style of our co-captain again, so they've actually tailored this to what she's done, which is, I love this because it doesn't feel as if they've just got some supplies in a deal and just chuck them into a box. This is much, much nicer. It features a bigger size 4 round brush. For detailed works you can use the 2 smaller sizes. This is especially useful to create your smaller wood cards postcard. Yep, absolutely. The golden synthetic hair bundle can be used for various applications such as acrylic, watercolour, etc, etc. So then we've got the magnetic wooden postcard, and this is what they're flouting as their gimmick, but I would say it's not gimmicky at all. It's a perfect addition to this box. Its magnet on the back will brighten up your fridge. Write on wood cards with a ballpoint pen, and thanks to its postcard format, it can be sent worldwide. Could I put a bit of wood in the post? That'd be amazing. I might just do that for fun. All individualists can print their art on wood cards in their shop. Okay. Welly well well. I'm excited. I am super excited for paint. So we're just not markers. Right, I'm just going to tuck all this out the way, and we'll have a look at this Upcrate battle, because we're just going to go for it today, and we're going to get stuck into some paint. Deep breath. Please be something sensible. Oh my goodness. The Upcrate battle is Beauty of Madness. Oh my goodness. Right, this is excellent. I'm going to have a wee think about this Beauty of Madness, but I shall take a quick tea break for 10 minutes and then I get myself set up for some painting, and we'll see what we can come up with. Right, so I've had a little bit of a brain fart, and I'm just wanting to sketch out a few thumbnails real quick to see which idea I'm going to go with now. The first thought that came to my mind, please don't judge me people, was the idea of Beauty of Madness. That can be interpreted in a lot of ways, but my first thought was someone that's been oppressed or has been dictated to for so long, and they've finally just snapped and they've decided they've had enough. And what popped into my head there was a naked woman who just decided to take all her clothes off and run about with with everything swinging free, like with her arms in the air and her hair all flowing out, that kind of thing. And my thought for that was maybe we could have some sort of like sunrise behind her, or like some sort of light behind her, and her hair's all going to be swooshing out, and she's going to be running about with her arms in the air with a really sort of slightly manic look on her face. I don't draw humans very often, let alone naked humans, so I don't know how well that would go, especially in the limited time that we have. My other thought was thinking more about nature, which is what I tend to veer towards more than humans, and I was thinking about something that's quite prominent for me just now is 2 bulls fighting. Our bulls have just gone out to the field to have some fun with their ladies, and quite often there's a bit of sort of toing and froing goes on. So I was thinking about like 2 bulls that were button heads and like big thick necks, and the ears are back and all the rest of it, and then there's hoofs, and there's really sort of, because when they're in that mind frame, and if they are if they're sort of fighting for dominance or whatever, you can put anything in between them and they will literally just like plough through it. It's as if like a red mist's come down, and it is a sort of state of madness until they get what they want. So I kind of thought of that, but I like this idea of having a sort of sunbeam background, and I was thinking maybe we could pale down some of this magenta colour for that. And the other one I had was to draw like a sort of funky flower. So, have a normal shaped flower, whatever it would be. So let's say it's a tulip, just for the sake of argument. I haven't thought this through yet, obviously. We've not really got that far. But if you were to draw a tulip and then augment it so that it opened up, and then you could have a jumble of all sorts of things coming out, really random things like a trumpet and all that sort of thing. I think that would be one for a more intricate drawing when I had a little bit more time. So it's definitely going to be one of these two. I'm probably going to go for the bulls if I'm honest, because again, with the naked lady idea, it's kind of appealing to me right now. But I would have to really sort of work out my anatomy and take some time to figure that out, because it's not something I'm overly familiar with, and my proportions would probably be ridiculous. So I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. Going to think more about this bull situation, and what I want to think about, the thing that stands out to me most about this is obviously when it's two male bulls fighting, and this happens a lot, we tend to keep our bulls separate unless they are known to be quite agreeable to each other. But when you put them in with other bulls or even cows, there's always a bit of sorting out the hierarchy and the pecking order, so there is always a bit of literally butting heads. And the beauty of it is it's part of their natural behaviour, and I'm not talking about organised bullfights or anything like that. That's something that I feel quite strongly about and I'm very uncomfortable about, but that we're talking about letting nature do what it's supposed to do here. But one of the things that I always think about when I think about these bulls is the size of their neck muscles. They have massive neck muscles, and when they start to fight, they have their heads down, they're kind of ready to go. So depending on if they've got horns or not, but I think we'd better give ours horns just to make it look a bit more sort of mad and menacing. Their heads are going to be down at this sort of angle to begin with. So if we think this is the top of the head here, and then they've got these great big shoulder muscles, like massive shoulder muscles, and then they've got this neck muscle here, and this is to strengthen them up if they have to fight. So, and that's usually quite, especially in the meatier breeds, so like beef breeds. God, I'm giving you all a farm lesson here. This is ridiculous. But this muscle is very, very pronounced in the sort of better bred variety, shall we say. So that it's going to look something like that, and then this is going to come down in their back end. But I'm really going to focus on, like that would be the edge of the paper there. And we can make this as broad and bulky as possible, and we can have some like really sharp angles on the head here as well, and these sort of big broad noses as well. And maybe the other one could be at a slightly different angle. Maybe he's back on his hoofs a little bit, and the same sort of thing. Or maybe he could have his head up in the air, or maybe he could be poking him with his horns. This is all kind of a bit gruesome, isn't it? Oh my! And I want this gap between them though. Just so that we can see a bit of daylight between them, because I'm thinking more of like a silhouette format here. I always find this really difficult, like when I'm kind of put on the spot like this. Coming up with ideas doesn't seem to be a problem for me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it's putting it into some sort of semblance of order and making it look like a proper drawing, not something you've just chucked together. And that's kind of the challenge for me now. When I first sort of started doing the channel, and I've done unboxing since the very beginning, to begin with it was a case of, am I able to draw this thing? And now it's a case of, I know I can draw this thing, but I need to get it to a place where it's going to look as good as my capability is. I don't know if that makes sense or not, I really hope so. And obviously by placing this sort of time limit on myself when I'm doing this and doing it straight after the unboxing, that's all part of it for me. Right, okay, I think I'm relatively happy there. I just need eye placement, roughly. Won't be able to see that eye, and this little dude's eye is going to be somewhere in around here, and it's going to be facing down. Okay, alright, I am actually reasonably happy with that for a really rough sketch. That's fine. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to use it landscape, because that will let me get that little space in between, going for a more of a silhouette kind of thing. Because what my thinking is maybe I can mix up like a dark purple colour with a combination of these and use the blue more or less neat. So that would give me like a blue bull and a purple bull. And then obviously I can lighten up anything I need to with the white, but we can mix the white with the magenta for this sort of, I'm going to call it a sunbeam background, but you know what I mean when I say that now, to have this sort of sunlight, and we'll fade it out to white up the top here. So I'm going to try and get this sketch down, and I'm interested to see how easily this pencil is going to erase off the wood. And I'm looking around to see if I can find my eraser, because I've just tidied up the cave and I can't really remember where I've put things. Let's try the Derwent battery eraser, because I've got it to hand. Oh, that's satisfying. Okay. Okay. Just brush that off. Yeah, that's taken that off no problem, and it doesn't seem to have roughened up the wood any as well, so that's pretty good. Okay, so let's get to sketching this out, and that means we can test out our pencil. I'm trying to think about placement when I do this as well, because something I'm quite guilty of is, having things like too far up or too low down. So, now obviously depending on the breed of the bull, that has a huge bearing on things like the shape of the head and the relative size of the other body parts, because there are huge variations in all the different breeds. I was always told never turn your back on a bull, and definitely never turn your back on a mother. And that could apply to humans as well, actually. That's quite funny. And then his head's going to come up, and here's this big neck muscle again. I don't know why I feel like I need to have that sound effect in there, but it definitely helps. So that's roughly going to be his hoof there. Okay, this leg's too far back. So even though I'm doing this quickly and just sort of off the top of my head, I'm still trying to check the placement and proportions of things. Okay, now the nice thing about this as well is the paint's going to be reasonably opaque, so we can paint over some parts as well. So they're getting ready to fight, they have the madness, and the victor will become Alpha Bull. Okay, so that's a definite thumbs up for the pencil. I'm not convinced that these little mixing pots are going to be big enough or enough of anything to help me out here. We're going to use them anyway, but in addition to that, I've got my good old Perspex palette here, which, I've got my sketchbook. Zoom out a wee bit here. My sketchbook propped up to the side here, what I've just drawn, and I've just got a plain palette knife here, and this is to mix my colours up. And a little bit of water and a rag so that I can clean that off and clean my brushes off too. First things first, I'm going to get on with the white. Now I'm wondering how... I'm not very good at gauging quantities with acrylic paint yet. Is this just going to come squishing out here? We're about to find out. Oh. That's a little bit thicker than I thought it would be for a soft body, but I suppose the proof will be in the actual painting of it. These kind of remind me of Capri Suns, you know, the drinks that you get in the pouches and you the straw in. It seems to soften down, like when I'm pressing down on it with the palette knife, it is kind of smoothing out quite easily. So I'm going to use the biggest brush here because this is going to be for the background, so I'm just softening the tip up. They do feel quite sturdy, these brushes. In at the ferrule and in at the base of the bristles is quite rigid. So we'll see how we go with this paint anyway. Oh, okay. Now we might have to go with the grain of the wood. I say it's good, you don't actually have to be exact, you know, in with your pencil strokes because of the opacity of what's going on here, so that's pretty good. Oh no, we're all right. So I'm going against the grain. The grain's running this way, and I seem to be okay in painting this. It's drying fairly quickly as well. That's something I'm always interested in with acrylic paint, is the drying time. My experiences thus far have been with the Winsor & Newton Galleria acrylic, and it dries pretty quickly to the point where I actually bought the fluid retarder to slow down that drying rate so I had more time to work with it. Because again, being a newbie, I need a little bit of time. I just need a little bit of time. I'm really interested to see how this is going to turn out, because this is the quickest I've ever come up with anything for one of these art prompts, let alone in acrylic, which I am not very skilled at yet. Haha, she says optimistically. But as always, guys, I have no expectations on myself with these. When it's off the cuff like this, I don't think I'm going to, you know, create this masterpiece. I tend to be a more sort of slow, methodical worker when it comes to stuff like that. I feel like this could do with another layer where it's starting to dry up here. It's not just quite as vibrant as I would maybe like. And I have to say, this paint is laying out really well. When I'm putting my brush into it, it is flattening out really well. So in terms of being soft body, I would say yeah. Right, let's see if I can get the with the grain going here. So you can see how smooth that is, and I'm not like having to squish that out really hard. It's kind of doing it itself, which is nice. Alright, so that is 2 layers of the white acrylic paint, and you can see I don't have an awful lot left there. But it's reasonably opaque. I could probably go for a 3rd layer, to be honest. But we don't want to be here all day, so let's crack on. And I want to see what this heavy body stuff looks like. Give you a little demonstration here on my acrylic palette. So, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting it to be that sort of consistency. Give you a demonstration. So here's the soft body. So if I just squish that out like that, and then if I try and do the same with that, you can see there it is leaving considerable marks, especially in the thicker paint. If I kind of like dab it like that, you can see the consistency that we're talking about. It's nice how freely it's flowing out here, though. I didn't have to put any pressure on that to do that, and as I say, I really wasn't expecting it to come out just quite like that, so that's quite good. Now, in doing this second coat, it was literally minutes between layers, you know, before the first coat was dry, so that's quite encouraging as well. Hi Woo, that's my Jack Russell. She's woken up. She likes to flap her ears when she wakes up. So I'm just going to use this magenta in its raw form, you know, it's not mixed with anything else. Wait. The good thing about these brushes as well is there is quite a fine point on even the number 4, so you can use it for smaller spaces if you've got the brush control. The other thing with the heavier bodied acrylic as well is you can water it down just to make it a bit more manageable. Now obviously the trade-off with that is you're going to get less opacity because you're diluting it essentially, so that's one thing to remember, but it can be watered down should you need it. And I just want to start sort of mixing this in. My cow's honking outside. I don't know why they're honking. I wish they wouldn't. So I'll just pop some of that down, and I'm not really paying much attention to how neat that is because I'm not really all that interested, to be fair. And then I'm just going to grab some more of this magenta and just really start to mix this in. This is the kind of effect we're going for. I find it really helpful to turn the wood. Now what's interesting is it's not going down too well over the white. Especially the heavy body. I thought that would be a bit more, a bit more robust, a bit more opaque, but okay. Well, that was epic, but we've got there with that part now, thank goodness. This is really me. I'm going to start testing out our paint mixing capabilities and see how well these actually mix together, especially with one being soft body and one being heavy body. So I want to plonk that in there. I'm just going to squidge a little bit more of that in there, and I want to try and add a tiny bit of this blue and see if we can get a nice purpley colour, which this might be quite difficult on account of this being in a squeezy tube. I don't know how I feel about these squeezy tubes, to be honest. I think for a painting of this size it's difficult. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. That wasn't, I would say that was probably 2 parts magenta to 1 part blue. Right, so this is looking very much like what I had in my head, which is grand. And I want to just start doing this outline of the bull. As I say, I'm kind of going for like a silhouette feel here. One of the things I do need to watch is though that I don't lose some of my construction lines here. So for example, I'm quite keen to put in these sort of big shoulder muscle type areas first. Now it's interesting to note that because we're using full body and soft body together, the paint does have a bit more structure about it. But now I'm getting into kind of finer areas. I really want to use this smaller brush. And as I suspected, the bristles on this smaller brush are much more flexible, and while that's all and fine and nice and all the rest of it, when you're working with heavy body paint it's actually not ideal. Try and leave out that eye socket there just because of what's happened down here with the pink and the white paint. I don't want to have to go back over things too many times. Righty ho ho, so I've started with the neat blue as well on my second bull, so I just want to get the rest of this base layer down, and then that's really where the fun starts with this, because we're going to start building up some layers and maybe some texture as well. So when I'm doing this, I am being careful to vary my brush strokes instead of just going with the grain of the wood, and that's so that I can still see where my pencil lines were, because I'm going to work on these sections separately and just put a little bit. I know I said I was going to do like a silhouette type thing, but I think we need to utilise the paint a bit better than just what we've done so far, so I've been quite careful to make sure that my lines are going in the opposite direction so that I can see where those initial pencil sketch lines were. I'm absolutely loving this blue, and this is just straight out the, I was going to say straight out the tube, straight out the pouch. I'm going to have to go in with the detail brush and do a fair bit of touching up just round the edges. Because we're working on wood, the lines just aren't quite as clean as I would like. And I'm assuming that's partially to do with my technique, but also to do with the surface. So my right hand bull here, he's pretty dry, which is good. And what I've done is I've just added a bit more blue to this paint that I was using before. I just want to start to outline some of the, well, not outline, that's the wrong phrase. I'll just show you what I mean, that would be better. So if I bring a sweep of blue down in here, just with this, and then pick up some of this purple that I was using before, and just really start to get some lines and some detail in here. And I suppose I am kind of just like outlining things. I don't want to blend this all in too much. And maybe down these horns a little bit. Why not? So I really want to just get that feel that there's those muscles there, you know, maybe we'll exaggerate them somewhat, why not? And really start to put a little bit of dimension in here. But the other thing I want to do as well is just take the paint that I was using and see, I don't want to smooth out these brush strokes too much because I do want a little bit of texture going on here. But obviously the full body paint, which was the full, I keep saying full body, the heavy body paint we were using is the magenta. And as I said before, you're going to start to compromise that when you start to mix it with the other ones. But we can still, because it's acrylic paint, we can still use this to our advantage somewhat. Really want to get some big bold, yeah, it's better. So really exaggerating that sort of muscular structure. Now, one thing that I want to do is work on the eye here, and I just want to clean up this eye area at the back here, where I had a bit of a wayward stroke. And bring that down into this corner. Make that pop out a little bit. Jack Russell's lying on the floor beside me, she's snoring. Good grief. She's noisy. Okay, and again, while this is still quite damp, I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit more white. I think I'll do it on my palette rather than one of these little mixing bowls. The mixing bowls aren't great. It's difficult to get your palette knife and stuff in there, and ideally you don't want to be mixing your acrylic paint with your paintbrush because it knackers your paintbrushes really quickly. If you do have a separate brush that you use for stuff like that, then obviously that's a different story. But I just want to just flick a little bit of this in here. Just leave those brush strokes in as well. Again, something that's very alien to me just generally as more of a pencil person. This, you know, normally this would be like super untidy, be like, oh no, I've got to fix this and smooth it all out, it's got to be nice and smooth. And I'm trying to resist that as much as possible. So moving over to this side now, to this bully boy over here, I have a lot of tidying up to do round about, but I'm going to leave that till the very, very end. So I'm starting with the blue as it was. I get a nice sort of swooshy motion there on that big muscle hump, and then pick up a little bit of this purple. Flick that in there. Get big bold strokes in there, yeah. As I say, I should really take the opportunity to enjoy this because it's the only time when I'm arting that I really don't put any expectations on myself, and it's nice to be able to do that, and it's nice now as well that I've got to the point where I feel I can do that and I'm not absolutely panicked about, you know, how things are going to turn out or what you guys think. Obviously it does matter to me what you guys think because I value your opinions. Most of you are very decent and very nice people, And you usually have something constructive and or funny to say, which is, you know, it's always good for me too. So, but it's nice just to be able to enjoy stuff like this, knowing that, you know, you're not trying to create something or you're not trying to prove anything, I suppose. I think I might be done. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go away off camera and I'm going to tidy up all my little bits that are just round the outline, and I'm going to show you what I mean. If I just hold this up here, see all these parts around here where I've put my pencil in, I'm going to go in with the detail brush and just really sharpen them up. So there's not much point in filming that because it's not going to make any difference to my overall picture here. So I'll do that and then I'll come back. Right guys, so I've decided to stop there. I wasn't brave enough to do it on camera, a bit of an admission here, but I did put in some red angry eyes, you know, to get that whole madness thing going, and all I did was use the 3D liner and literally squeeze a blob out. Because of motor skill issues with this hand, I actually used my right hand to help me gauge the pressure so it wouldn't splurge out all over the paper. All over the wood, sorry. And the last thing I did was just took this Uniball Signal Gold gel pen. This is a broad tip one, and I've put in their little rings on their noses there, just as a sort of final finishing touch. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this box. Just a last few words on the actual supplies. I'm really not passing judgment on the brushes because I think it's unfair to judge them using them on wood. I would like to try them out on a more traditional surface to get a really good opinion of them. The paint's lovely, it's really pigmented, it blends well together, and I think that you could do quite a lot with the heavy body stuff given if it came in a pouch rather than just in this tube. So I've really enjoyed the supplies. These little mixing bowls are okay. It is kind of difficult to mix stuff in here and to scoop it out just because of the shape of them, but that might just be, like, you know, a preference thing for me. And the pencil's absolutely fine, there's no problems with that. But I'd love to hear your opinions. What do you think of this box, and what do you think of my very out of character artwork as well? I'd be curious for your thoughts on that. So that's it for today. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I appreciate the support as always. Hit a thumbs up if you're feeling that way inclined. That's a big help to me. Stay safe, look after each other, and I'll see you back in the cave on Sunday for another video. Have a great day, everyone, and bye for now.